Faith is easy when the path is clear. Courage is simple when the outcome is guaranteed. But true obedience is proven when God asks for the very thing you love most. This is the story of Abraham, a man whose faith was tested not with words, but with everything he held dear. When God first spoke to Abraham, he wasn't a young man. He was already settled, comfortable, and old. Yet God said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's house, and go to the land I will show you." There was no map, no timeline, and no detailed explanation. Just a promise. I will make you into a great nation. And against all logic, Abraham obeyed. Years passed, then decades. Still there was no child. His wife Sarah grew older, and their hope grew thinner. The promise seemed impossible, but God didn't forget. When Abraham was 100 years old, Sarah gave birth to a son. They named him Isaac, which means laughter, and laughter finally filled their home. The promise had become flesh and bone. Isaac wasn't just a child. He was Abraham's future, his legacy, the living proof that God keeps his word. Then one day, God spoke again. "Abraham," he replied, "here I am." The command that followed was staggering. "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah. Offer him there as a sacrifice." The command made no sense. God himself had promised that Isaac would carry the blessing. Now he was asking for him back. Still, Abraham didn't argue. He didn't delay. Early the next morning, he rose, saddled his donkey, split the wood for the fire, and began the journey. For 3 days, Abraham walked beside the son he loved, knowing exactly where the road was leading. Every single step was an act of obedience. Every step was filled with unimaginable pain. Isaac carried the wood on his back. Then he asked a question that must have pierced his father's heart. "Father, we have the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the sacrifice?" Abraham's voice, steady with faith, replied, "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." At the mountain, Abraham built an altar, stone by stone. He carefully placed the wood upon it and then turned to Isaac. There was no struggle. Isaac trusted his father completely and allowed himself to be bound. Abraham laid his beloved son on the altar and raised the knife. In that heart-stopping moment, a voice cried out from heaven. "Abraham, here I am." "Here I am," he answered. "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." Abraham looked up and saw a ram, caught in a thicket by its horns. God had provided. Isaac was spared. The altar of sacrifice became an altar of praise. Abraham named that place, "The Lord will provide." God never wanted Isaac's life. He wanted Abraham's heart. This story isn't really about loss. It's about unshakable trust. Faith believes. Courage moves forward. But obedience surrenders, even when it hurts the most. Abraham went up that mountain expecting to lose everything. He came down knowing one profound truth. God can be trusted, even with what matters most to you. What you place in God's hands, He can redeem. Because true faith, courage, and obedience are revealed when God asks for everything. Thanks for watching.